most of them will say, everybody tells me I
Yes.
should write my story.
My daughter insists that I must write my story, or my wife insists, and that's good. Because
But-
I always tell them, write your story.
But it's a giant leap from a good story to a good book.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I try to teach, is that a good story, Tom Clancy actually, of all people, said the difference between life and fiction is that fiction has to make sense. Which I just love.
Now here you are, you're in Connecticut here being interviewed, but you're from California, and tell us why you're here. Tell us why you're in Connecticut.
I'm here on a great college tour with my 16-year-old daughter, and we have come to trek from campus to campus, and it's such an iconic thing to do. We all remember doing it with our
Are you taking
families.
notes? Are you taking
I'm
notes?
not, she is.
No, but I'm thinking, I'm already, you just say that and I've got a plot in my head.
Oh,
You know,
oh yeah.
You've got because I think that probably the college tour has been written from the student's point of view.
But not from
maybe
the
not
parent.
from the parent's point of view. That might
It could be a murder mystery, right? You got to get rid of the competition.
or something. Well, there's a thought. Yeah, okay.
Well, what's great about it too is even just in the car we were chatting that it's great for people watching, and you get such a sense of different people. Like there was someone on one of our tours this morning, that mom that you read about, that nightmare mom that you read about, who was just asking all these incredibly demanding questions of this freshman tour guide, and
like, oh my God.
And you want to just say, oh, lady, stop.
Back off.
And
yeah.
she was great, though, and we actually, we stopped off and had lunch at a deli. This is my favorite part. I know it's going to be my favorite part of the whole day, because I said to my daughter, this is going in a book. Those moments where it's just, it's like a little nugget. And we went into this deli off of the campus, but near enough that obviously he sees a lot, this deli owner. And he was the most informative guy we've run into, the deli owner, about where are you looking? He wanted to know what schools.
Oh, sure.
And here's what I think of this. And he looked at my daughter and he said, don't go there, that's not good for you. Don't go there, I don't like that for you. He was like the deli owner, counselor, college guy.
That's great.
He was fantastic. I
fun.
loved him.
Yeah. Now let's talk about this book, about the only true genius in the family. What's it about? Tell me about it.
This is a story about a woman in search of her creative voice.
Well, you ought to be able to relate to that.
Well, really, it was inspired by that experience I described of my realizing that I could be a storyteller, that was enough, and that was good, and that was my right. And I gave that realization to a character in a much more dramatic way than just someone standing on a stage and having a light bulb go off.
Yes.
I put 3 generations of artists together and put the mother in the middle of a famous father and a prodigy daughter.
Yes, and I love this. She says, Claire's father always said that in their family, genius skipped a generation. Like, oh man, Dad
I know.
says, I'm a genius, my granddaughter's a genius, then there's you.
Well, and what's interesting is how that's resonated with so many women. Not that everybody has a horrible dad, but just this sense that we pick up from our environment that maybe we can't do this, or this we're not cut out for that, or your sister's better at this, or that, just that subtle thing that we take and make huge.
Yes.
And so this character just is filled with doubt and jealousy, and what's been very interesting is to see how many readers relate to the idea of a mother who's jealous of her 23-year-old daughter.
Well, it's been on the shelves for a month now, so you're probably starting to hear from your readers now and see how they feel about it.
Oh, and that's just, really, nobody goes into writing to make a lot of money, and nobody who's in their right mind goes in to be famous. But I think the thing that is the glue for me that makes it all worthwhile.
I love fan mail. Fan mail makes me so happy. Every once in a while I get fan mail. And it's funny, the things that people will tell you about your stories that you didn't know about them, that they'll have a different take on it than you had.
I've had people, in addition to the extraordinary moving things that people say, I've just had crazy things where people will say, point out the grammar on page 32, and how can she teach English to high school students if I'm going to use language like that? Or I had a woman in my first book, The Last Beach Bungalow, there was a woman who didn't like dogs, and she wasn't cruel to dogs, she just didn't like them. And I got this reader writing me a note saying, anybody who could write about someone who doesn't like dogs is not an author I need to read. And she was just irate.
Well, but you know, as my friend always said, she says, I want to send them back a note and say, but thank you for buying the book anyway.
Right, I know. Well, of course, everyone in my family is saying, you should write back this and you should write back that. And it's like,
but I've been pretty lucky with that. My funniest is still the guy that's absolutely convinced that a character in the book is based on him.
Is someone you know?
No, he's not somebody I know, but he lives in the town where the book is set. And he's convinced I must have met him at some point and based a character.
That's hilarious.
And he's thrilled, you understand, because it's
sure.
a very attractive character who I describe as looking like a cross between Sam Shepard and Matthew McConaughey. So he's like, oh, he loves it. He thinks it's great. Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to get you to read a little bit of this, which we'll do just in a minute. But this concept of genius and art, it seems this theme running through here of genius and art. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I was very inspired by a story that came out years ago in People magazine about a young painter that everyone called Petite Picasso. She was about 10 years old, and she was painting these canvases that were selling for $100,000. And I thought, what is that? Is that the mom forcing the child to do that? Is there some raw talent? You know, I was so taken with this idea of her story, but in particular, I kept just thinking about her mother. What is this mother like? And over the years, that idea bubbled in my brain, and I did a lot of reading on what real genius is, what true genius is, and all kinds of different reading about it. And it's not the most pleasant thing, actually, true genius, however we want to define that. But people who are really doing things that are extraordinary and that the public embraces. And the more I got into the story, I realized that it was the mother that I was most interested in and her story. Yeah, parenting a genius. And there's been a lot of writing.
Particularly in this culture of there's pressure to have your child be such an achiever so young. I don't, like I was talking about my friend whose daughter went to Yale. I don't think that girl actually slept from because she had to. And don't get me wrong. She's a wonderful person, and how that happened, I don't know. She had great parents, but every minute of her day. And then she'd get home and she'd have 6 hours of homework. 6 hours of homework. I didn't have 6 hours of homework a week when I was her age. Right. And I was, in the accelerated program at my school. I was theoretically one of the smart kids. And we didn't, seriously, she had as much homework in a night as I ever had in a week.
Right.
But then she was also expected to be doing, going out for a sport and participating in civic organizations and doing community services. And if the parents weren't constantly monitoring that, well, then they were neglectful, terrible people.
Right.
And so if you actually had a prodigy as a child, I think the pressure would be huge.
Well, I don't know, because my children are wonderful, but I don't think I would put them in that category. But I really had fun trying to imagine this woman and how it tore her up, and then letting her find her voice in the end was really.
It's okay to be you.
Yeah, it's really great.
Now, one of the things we talked about a little bit was publicity and the amount of time when a book comes out that you spend on publicity. And I was realizing